Hello, Anthony.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
Good.
Hi, Colin. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Saudi. It has been a long time. How are you?
I know it has been a minute. I'm doing well. And yourself?
Not too bad.
Hey, it's Sadia. How you doing?
I'm fine. How you doing, Carlone?
Good, good.
Hey, Carlone.
Hey, Carol, what's going on?
Oh, just living it,
That's good. That's
having
good.
fun. Yep.
That's good. Good to see you.
Good to don't see you. Yeah.
Hey, Sean. Hey, Melanie. I mean, Marley, excuse me.
Hi, sorry about that. I was muted.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Councilwoman.
Hello,
How you
Councilwoman.
Hi.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to welcome everyone and count at the same time to see if we're going to have quorum tonight because we have 2 votes going on. So I'm just hoping we have quorum. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Good afternoon, Sadia. This is Liz. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Liz. How you doing?
Hi. I'm fine. I'm here in Texas, but I'm at a location where the Zoom is just not coming in. So I'm on my phone now and hopefully it'll stay charged.
Okay, no problem.
And my phone isn't standing up straight, so I have the camera off. Otherwise, you're going to see me sideways. This will work.
Thank you all, Commissioner and guests, for being here today. We're just going to wait a little while longer because Armando, he is first up on our agenda and he's just running a little bit behind. So we're just going to wait about like 5 more minutes till 3:10. If he doesn't come on, then Laura, you can go ahead and I have the presentation and I can share my screen. But for now, we're just going to wait a little while longer to about 3:10 to wait for the Executive Director, Armando.
Asadi, did you get my most recent one I just sent you? I forgot it. Thank you.
Yes, I got it.
And thank you to Carol for catching the check mark. Please.
Hello, is Amy Berry?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, we made quorum. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was excited about that. So actually today we have a delegate of Alice Norman. Since Alice is in Tier A, she can assign a delegate when she's not available. So her delegate today will be Leanne with the Public Defender's Office. So we have one delegate and we had 2 proxy votes and we have 15 commissioners here today, plus the 2 proxy votes. So we have quorum. We're just gonna wait 2 more minutes. Thank you everyone for your patience. Hey, Lori, would you be ready to present at this time?
Get off mute. Can you share the screen, Asadia?
Oh,
Yes, I can hear you.
you were talking to Laura, not me, right?
Yeah, Laura, yes.
Okay.
No problem. No problem. Yes, Laura, I can hear you. Did you hear me?
Yeah. And can you share the screen for the
Oh,
presentation?
sorry. I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Can everyone see?
So wanted to brief this group on the 2023 budget and the process and just where we are with things and where things are going. And we'll ask for the CPCC to approve 2 budget items for 2023. And then we'll just talk a little bit about where we are right now, then we'll get through it all. So next slide. So just to remind everyone where we are in the budget process. And again, I don't expect you all to read this. There's a lot of words on this slide, but we are at the public hearings for the budget. So the mayor, we held budget hearings with the mayor and city council at the end of September. And so with that, city council presented to the mayor some items that they wanted to see changed or just some additions into the budget. And with nothing with CPCC was recommended to be changed. And so the mayor responded to that, and the mayor set out what we call the October budget book to council. And that is what the city council will hold public hearings on. The first public hearing will be held on Monday, so on October 24th. And then from there, that's when the city council votes on the budget and goes through their process. So next slide. And so what was proposed that did not change from the September budget for CPCC is there's a $366,000 budgeted in the general fund in the Department of Safety for 3 positions. So those positions would be for the program management of CPCC and data analyst for CPCC, and then also a new fiscal administrator for CPCC. So those are all in safety's general fund now. And then what's in the CPCC special revenue fund, it was budgeted to be a $2 million transfer with an additional projected fund balance of $1 million that's currently resides in the special revenue fund for a total, and again, it's the projected fund balance, but for a projected total of about $3 million for CPCC in 2023. And this does not include Asadia's, Cindy's, and the new fiscal administrator positions. Those positions are budgeted into safety's general fund. So this is just programmatic dollars for CPCC. Next slide. And just so as a reminder, I presented on this last time as well. So you can see in the first column, those are all items that were budgeted in the CPCC for 2022. Those are all the programs that we're currently funding through CPCC. And then the next 2 columns were the recommended where they should be budgeted in 2023. So for instance, you can see the CPCC administration. Those are the 3 FT that I was talking about. That is currently being proposed to be in the general fund. So this is what we've been aiming for and working towards for the last couple of years of really sustaining the CPCC programs that have proven their effectiveness and sustaining them into their appropriate department in the general fund. So we were able to accomplish that in this year's mayor's budget recommendation. So for instance, outreach court, competency, the fast track drug cases, and then going down, those were all recommended to be sustained in the general fund, so coming off of the CPCC programming. The items that were recommended to remain in the CPCC special revenue fund is the wellness program, the TJCC, the reentry program, as well as the CPCC, the innovation funds. And the rationale for the wellness program and the reentry program was because in 2022, and so aligning with CPCC's goals is to really be that innovative funding mechanism. Both of those programs were in their first year of funding in 2022. And so the idea then through CPCC is to sustain and improve the effectiveness of those programs for 2 to 3 years, and then work to get those sustained into the general fund budget. And if there's any questions, please let me know. And so what we're seeking for today, and I can talk a little bit about the timing as well, is approval from the CPCC, the budget approval. I know that Asadia sent through the MOUs and all of that, but we're refining some of that. We're refining the MOUs. They came over from DDPHE. And so really kind of scrubbing them from the safety lens and updating the numbers within the MOUs to reflect 2023 budget. So what we are seeking approval for is for TJCC for the reentry program of $1,135,050. And that is for approximately $900,000 for the Second Chance Center for that contract. We have positions, case management positions within the Sheriff Department. And then we also fund about $11,000 for a CiviCore database for that program. The wellness program of $303,000, that's about $190,000 for county courts, $54,000 for the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless for the Beacon beds, and then about $55,000 for the city attorney's office. And I say about is because we don't have the final budget numbers because we're still going through the performance management for the county courts and for the city attorney and the sheriff department employees. So we won't know their final salaries until the end of the year. But so I took the 2022 numbers and budgeted 4% on top of that, which is what this the CSA employees were budgeted for an increase in 2023. And so wanted to talk a little bit then about just the process then for the innovation funds. So I'm really working through the budget subcommittee. So, and Carol and Liz, I saw that they were on this meeting as well. So Deanna, please jump in. So if you all remember, back in April of 2022, that budget subcommittee created, I think I saw Jonathan too. Sorry, I can't see everyone on the call right now. But we created surveys, you know, to try and get elicit responses to inform the budget request. And so then that did inform, you know, through those surveys, we got information about approximately how much programmatic funding we could spend and just some ideas out there of where we can move the needle on some things. So in September, the mayor's budget recommendation came out. October, November is where we are now. The budget subcommittee is going to meet weekly at this point. We're going to create that RFP and to invite those program proposals for where we want to spend the CPCC, the innovation funds. And then during this time as well, the budget subcommittee will formalize that process to review proposals, and we'll bring that process back to the CPCC for that final approval of how do we want to approach allocating these innovation funds. The intent is to release the RFP for CPCC programs in November. Then going through the RFP process, the RFP selection committee will recommend programs to go before the full CPCC in January timeframe, and then we'll begin the contracting process in February. And so again, I think really having the budget subcommittee really formalize that process of how, because this is a new thing that CPCC is doing with the innovation funds, of how do we think very thoughtfully and intentionally of how we allocate the innovation funds. Carol, Liz, Jonathan, Deanna, what did I miss in there? Or what else would you like to chime in on?
Hi, this is Liz. I think you have all the highlights, Laura, on what we discussed. I know there's a lot more detail in terms of the RFP process and bringing everything together. So we still have a lot of moving parts, ensuring that we have the support and the contracting staff with DOS and the time, and it meets the time frame, as well as the timeline for getting anything to, if we need to, City Council, the Budget Management Office, as well as DISBO. But I think we have the high level elements, and that's a pretty good time frame for putting together for contracts in February.
Thank you, Liz. And so then I think, sorry.
This is Carol. May I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to reinforce the importance it is for us to have volunteers from the community, from the commission, to help us with this RFP process through this fall. Were you going to talk about that at another time, Laura?
No problem.
Okay, I know Liz, you had some requirements that you outlined. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. We were discussing, we were trying to look at, trying to be fair and open about the process for the panel review for the proposals, however many we get. So we're really not sure at this point in time until probably the December timeline, end of December, beginning of January. But we thought we would open it up to the commission to look for people that are interested in being on this panel. They would be able to, and some of the basic roles and responsibilities would being able to meet the time commitment that would be involved with pre-meetings, any pre-bid activities, and the actual panel review, a review of the rubric that will be developed. I think we have a model that we're using for making the assessment of each proposal, that there is no known conflict of interest, that the person would be familiar with either contract, scope of work, RFP within either an agency or a CBO. And that would be just so they have a general understanding of the content of it, so that they're not struggling. So we have consistency with each of the panel members in terms of some level of knowledge. And also that there's a commitment to the process, including meeting the city criteria, the Department of Safety, and the Budget Management Office requirements. So those are the general roles and responsibilities that were brainstormed just very recently, and we're open to others.
So please, if you are interested in joining us, please do reach out to Sadia and let her know. She'll connect you with us. We would love to have a nice cross sector of commissioners on this budget, on this committee that's looking at the RFP.
Can you clarify how often the group will be meeting and what the time commitment is on that?
Yeah, I think that, so right now, as we're creating the RFP, the budget subcommittee is going to be meeting weekly to be creating that RFP, and just to ensure that the process is really, formalizing that process. But I think for the RFP selection committee, it will be over the course of, depending on how many proposals do come in. It could be a good time commitment, just reviewing all of the RFPs. And then the RFP selection committee will have to come together. And it's usually a couple-hour meeting then just to discuss the RFP and selection criteria and process. So sorry, I can't give you like hour details about that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's okay, Laura, and this is Liz. In addition, what it is there's going to be the review process itself, and that will be scheduled within your own time frame. But I think the whole RFP process for the panel piece of it is going to be maybe about spread across, I'm thinking about 4 weeks. That's a good estimate of time frame, possibly 5, with some smaller amounts of time in pre-bid meetings, but the larger chunk of time would be reviewing and then sitting in on the panel. But it could, I've been on panels where it's taken, it's been maybe about 8 to 10 hours, and some maybe a little longer.
are there any other questions? So I think today we needed to seek approval from the CPCC for the budget, the reentry program, as well as the wellness program. And the reason these are coming before the commission today is because of the timing of everything. So the current reentry contract with the Second Chance Center, the current contract expires December 31st of 2022. And that one will have to go through the council process to get council approval. So just allowing us enough time to get that contract through the process such that there's no gap in service and there's no lapse in contract with the Second Chance Center. So that's why we're coming today to seek approval for these 2 budgets. And then for the wellness program, the same situation for the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, that contract. But then also for the county courts and the city attorney's office, we do currently have employees in there. So it's just keeping that continuity of services there.
Yes, thank you, Laura. I see Deborah Ortega hand is up.
I'm just going to
Councilwoman.
move do the motion to move forward with the acceptance of the recommendation for the budget.
I was just about to ask that, but I was like, she probably gonna say it. So thank you, Councilwoman, for beating me to it. Can I get a second motion?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Taj. So Emily, just for the record, we just like to say it. Councilwoman Deborah Ortega, she made the first motion, Taj made the second motion, and then now we're gonna go ahead with the votes. I'm gonna call on each commissioner one by one. We had 2 proxy votes. The 2 proxy votes that we had was Beth McCann, she said yes. And then we had Jennifer Gafford, and she also said yes. So those was the 2 proxy votes that I received before 1 p.m. today. So Emily, are you ready? Because I'm gonna go down the list of commissioners. So you can say, you can count the vote for me with the quorum.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, Amy Berry.
Yes.
Thank you. Anthony.
Yes.
Thank you. Carol Peoples.
Yes.
Okay. Laura Wagner, because it's CTD.
Yes.
Thank you. Deanna.
Yes.
Okay. Greg Morrow.
Yes.
Okay. Cara.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Leanne.
Yes.
Okay. Lisa Thompson.
Given the vote impacts the coalition, I will abstain.
Okay, thank you. Have 1 abstain. Marley.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Marley. Orlando.
Yes.
Thank you, Orlando. Taj.
Yes.
Thank you, Taj. Liz, did I call on you?
Not yet, but yes.
Go ahead, Liz. Okay. All right, thank you, Liz. Sean McDermott. Sean, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Oh. Well. Yes. I don't know
Thank you,
why
Sean.
it's
I
not
heard you,
showing
Liz.
up. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you, Sean. Councilwoman Debbie Ortega.
Yes.
Thank you. Emily, can you inform me of the vote? We have 2 proxy yes, and then how many yeses we have? I know we have 1 abstain.
So I have counted 2 proxies and 14 yeses and 1 abstain. So 16 yeses and 1 abstain, and someone please feel free to check my math.
Okay, no objections. All right, so since we have 16 yeses, but including the 2 proxy votes, then that means that it is passed, and we will go ahead with the process of the Second Chance Center and the wellness program being funded by the CPCC. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your vote. I see that Armando's still not on right now. So Carol, would you like to go ahead and present Lori Clark? Go ahead, Carol.
Actually, I had a couple thoughts about this discussion to follow before I presented on Judge Clark. Just a couple thoughts. I think we need to discuss as a commission a conflict of interest. I noticed that Lisa, Commissioner Thompson, abstained from voting, but there are a couple other members who do have a conflict. And we have to talk about this and whether and how there is a conflict and what that means. So just, I want to put that out there. I also want to hope that we get all of the next year at the end of 2023, that we have an ability to look at all of the requests for funds from the CPCC budget, so that we can look at everything, and then over this year, work on standardizing the expectations for what we are trying to do, so that we have similar metrics and can start to get a kind of a quantify the return on investment of these CPCC dollars. Does anybody else have any thoughts about this at this point, since we have a little time?
Yes, we do have a little time. So we have a lot of time actually. So if anyone else would like to comment on what Carol said, go right ahead. Any commissioners?
Can I just jump in? I appreciate you raising this point, Carol. I think it is important that we, number one, have consistency and clarity in how we deal with any potential conflicts of interest. I mean, most entities have real standard procedures around that. And so I think that that is an important point for us to track. There was something else I was going to say, and I just blanked my mind. So I may have to log back on in a minute to raise that point.
Could it have been about like metrics and return on investment? Because we've been talking about that a lot over the last year.
Actually, it is about that, and it's about the getting to where we can have some consistency across the city in terms of how we are tracking who is serving whom. And we know that a lot of people have either case managers or touch points with multiple agencies. And this is a conversation that City Council has been having around how are we doing a better job where we either use a unique identifier number or some means. For example, I don't know that the Second Chance Center, for example, inputs into the homeless management information system, because that is a big percentage of the people who come through the jail and are trying to access services or resources through the Second Chance Center or through our reentry program. HMIS captures some data from agencies that get HUD funding. And so if an agency doesn't get HUD funding, even though they might serve the same population, it's harder to really kind of quantify not only what we're spending, but the real value and impact we're trying to have on the lives of the people that we're serving through many different agencies that touch the life of that one person. So, I mean, it's a little different than what you're talking about, but it really is something that we're all trying to figure out how much money we're spending on each individual and not really showing the value added to their life in a way that has meaningful impact across the city with all the different pots of money that may touch the lives of some of these people. So anyway, I just wanted to put that on the table. I know it's something that we've talked briefly about in the past, but we've not really moved the needle on trying to figure out how do we wrap our arms around that. So.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ortega, for your response. Do anyone else have any other response to this topic before we go ahead and move on?
This is Liz. I just agree and support with what Carol said and what Councilwoman Ortega said. Consistency of the metric, how it's captured, so that we can have measurable outcomes related to the goals of the mayor and city council is going to be critical. And I think that that'll make for that should be included in terms of the RFP scope and also be required for these other organizations that we are bringing into the process. So I agree with what's been said.
We just agreed to pay $12,000 to Civicor for a data management system. So will everybody be using do the courts, the wellness courts use that as well? I mean, and I assume Second Chance Center in the city is using that, as well as Tribe and the Don't Look Back Center for their clients that are accessed. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is correct. So only the Civicor contract is used for the reentry contract, for the TJCC reentry contract, which is the Second Chance Center and the Sheriff Department. And so that is that database that Second Chance Center use along with the Sheriff Department and the subcontractors of the Second Chance Center, as you said, which was the Don't Look Back Center and Tribe Recovery. So yes, that is correct. Wellness do not use Civicor for our program, for CPCC, for us to track the data, for Cindy to track the data. Wellness do not use Civicor. And Cindy, are you on? Can you describe which database Wellness use?
I do not know what their, what system they use. Deanna, do you know what system the courts use for wellness program?
I think Deanna may have stepped away. So yes, I don't know what system that they use, Carol. So maybe when Deanna get back on, we can ask her.
How about the other problem-solving courts? Do they use do all the problem-solving courts use a client management system?
I'm not sure which client management system that they use. Beth McCann, she's not here right now from the DA's office, and Deanna, I guess she stepped away. So I'm not sure which system that they use, but they do not use Civicor according to the CPCC contract. With us, they do not use Civicor. I don't know if they have their own contracts or their own data system, but I do not know which programs that they use. But I can find out for you. I can ask the leadership of the city of the problem solving court, and I can get back to you with that.
Well, in the past, I've always gotten data from them and their systems. And so we've never had a database that we've consistently entered into across any and all of our programs. And so I agree with all of you that that is one of the downfalls of, trying to look at people across all the different programs. And it would be fantastic to have a shared database or even a process where we can gather and look at all of that data together in the scope of the work that CPCC does. And so, that's always been an issue since I've been here. And so I've relied on the court's data system as well as just, working with their analysts to do the ROI based on, the information and the population that they provide. So it's a challenge and hopefully one that we can tackle someday.
And I can speak to those clients that are specifically referred to the coalition for the beacon beds. They are enrolled in the HMIS system.
Thank you.
So does
sorry, I just
Civic work with HMIS? I'm sorry.
We don't work with HMIS, and I've really never found anybody that can provide any data to us from that system. I know it's important for HUD concerns and would be fantastic to be able to see what kind of data we could get from there. But to my knowledge, we do not have access to any of that information.
Yeah. And this is Liz. As long as if we're using different systems, if we're looking at taking the same metric from each system, if we're looking at apples and oranges in each of the system, and we have the ability to export and or integrate data, that's going to be that would help us get the outcomes or get the data reporting that we need. And I think somebody from I think it's the mayor's finance office, where they do the data analytics and reporting for the mayor, we may be able to get some information. I have a point of contact there, but we may be able to get the information from them on how these systems can integrate together, as long as it's the same type of data, same type of information that they are capturing.
And I'm aware that there is a Metro Denver Social Health Information Exchange Initiative that's taking place, that's being led by the Metro Denver Partnerships for Health. I think it's a similar issue in that they're trying to share data, across multiple entities, primarily health and hospital systems, but also community-based organizations. and the Ray and other, having the criminal justice system involved in that group, I think is one way to, I think they're the early phases of developing what that social health information exchange will look like, but it seems like having some representation, perhaps the FTE that the commission is paying for as part of the budget could, be involved in that and explore ways that they could, coordinate with that group in terms of data information sharing.
I agree, Lisa. Am I muted? Oh, okay. I agree, Lisa. Yeah, and Taj, I was wondering, do you know if there's an integration with HMIS with Second Chance Center in the city?
That's a good question, Carol. And honestly, I would defer to Ilyas, who's the director of Second Chance in the city. I'll just add that we, in a general sense, we do both in the city and our headquarters do access HMIS, because some of the housing solutions that we come up with do end up seeing us dealing with that. I don't know if people are familiar with our PATH project, Providence at the Heights, but that is absolutely an HMIS linked service that we provide. So, but the $1 million question is, does that carry over to in the city? So I would defer to Ilyas, who was on for that. Ilyas, can you speak to that in terms of what you guys do with HMIS?
Yeah, so we currently are not in HMIS. We were waiting to get approval. From my understanding, they've paused training for now.
And so before we move on, could we ask Deanna about the data base, the client management system that the problem-solving courts use, if you guys know that?
Well, we will ask her about the wellness court, because that's the one that we, okay.
Oh,
Yes.
it's the only one. Okay, yeah, maybe she knows about the others. Okay, thanks.
I don't know if I know she was back on, but I don't know if she went back away. Deanna, are you back on? I think Deanna has stepped away again. So when closing remarks, we can go ahead and ask her if she comes back on. But however, I just wanted to make sure, I do hear the commissioners and I do hear you all about the conflict of interest and things like that. When we do rewrite the bylaws for the CPCC, that is something that we can address, and we can talk about conflict of interest during that time, so we can set rules and guidelines for voting and when we do have quorum. But however, pertaining to the current bylaws, the vote does count. Lisa, it was okay for you to abstain and you felt like you needed to abstain. That was a-okay for you. If you felt like you had a conflict of interest and you needed to abstain, that was okay for you to do. However, everyone else per bylaws, they are allowed to vote when they do have interest in the vote. So everyone else, even though DCC, DA, whoever else voted, city attorney's office, whoever else voted, yes, your vote still does count. So we still going to go ahead and move forward with the process of contracting Second Chance Center, Civil Court, and the wellness program, because that vote did count today. Deanna, I'm happy to see you back on. We just had a question. Do you know which system the wellness program used? Because we were just discussing how Second Chance Center is using Civil Court for our program, for the CPCC program. So do you know which wellness program, how y'all track data?
Yeah, I mean, we use our Themis, which is our court case management system, and good old Excel. So, I mean, as a court, I know we're looking at trying to get some type of data management system, just because we do so much through Excel and it's tedious. It's a lot of work. And so we're looking at trying to get a data management system. But I know we work really well with Cindy, with Power BI, and trying to import a lot of the data into, she pulls a lot of things, I believe, from either our shared sheets or some of the data points. If I'm not mistaken, I know Cindy grabs some of our data.
I do for the outreach court. I can go onto the county court website and pull all the cases that appear on outreach court. So I track that court. But Otherwise, I depend on you guys to supply me with the information, and typically it is through an Excel spreadsheet, which I agree is not ideal.
And I know, and Lynn just signed off for all y'all that don't know, but Lynn Unger's last day's today, and she's moving on to some new and exciting things that she just left. So sorry I pulled away here and there, but she had mentioned that prior pandemic, a group was working on something called the iFund to try and get like a cross data management system. So maybe that's something we can look at again, of getting something that we can all incorporate data into.
Thank you, Deanna. Do anyone else have any other questions about this topic before we go ahead and move on? Okay, thank you, commissioners, for all your input. Carol, do you want to go ahead with Judge Laurie Clark nomination, since we have quorum today?
Yeah, glad to. First, I just want to again thank all the members of the membership committee, kind of an ad hoc committee. We meet as needed. Lisa, Demi, who has moved on, Councilwoman Ortega. If anybody would like to join us, Sean, I know you indicated at one point, so we don't have a meeting scheduled because we don't have any other openings at this point. But we have had a long-standing opening to represent the juvenile justice program, along with Jonathan McMillan. And I was hoping Jonathan could join us, but he just texted me and he is ill, and so not able to join, because he definitely joined us for that membership committee meeting to talk about Judge Clark. It's really exciting to see her application. She's got tons of experience. I know she's on the call today, the meeting today. So I actually would like to just, the committee unanimously would like to move forward her recommendation, or to recommend her as a member of the commission. Could we take a few minutes for Judge Clark to talk about her experience and why she wanted to apply for this?
Yes. Go ahead, Judge Clark.
Thank you. It's actually Kerr who invited me and told me about the opening. I think the former representative was Sean Cohn from Denver Juvenile Probation, who recently retired. So I've worked with Sean for the last 10 years. I find the work for this commission to be very important. I was a guardian ad litem before I was on the bench, and now I handle not only juvenile delinquency as half my docket, but I also handle the sex trafficking treatment court at Denver Juvenile Court. And just all that I see going on, and I know how hard the community is working. I just felt like I hope that I can be a benefit to the conversations in regards to this commission. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has specifically about my experience and my desire to be on this commission.
Do anyone have any questions for Judge Clark at this time? Any commissioners? Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kara.
Well, then going forward, thank you very much, Kara, for your outreach. I know you're a brand new commissioner. I also want to welcome Anthony and Tomas to this, one of their first meetings too. So just appreciate it. We would like to move forward the nomination of Judge Clark to be a member of the Crime Prevention Control Commission representing the juvenile justice.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Have a second. Carol is the first motion, and Councilwoman Ortega is the second motion. All right, so we can go ahead and start the vote of. Leanne, can you?
Yes, sorry.
No problem. Since Alice is there, and
Yes.
do you vote for Judge Clark to be the nomination?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. That's one. All right, I'm just going. Anthony?
Yes.
Thank you. Deanna?
Yes.
Sean McDermott?
Yes.
Thank you. Marley?
Yes.
Thank you. Lisa Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you. Orlando?
Yes.
Thank you. Greg Morrow?
Yes.
Thank you. Cara?
Yes.
Amy Berry,
Yes.
thank you. Liz,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
thank you. Tomas,
Yes.
thank you. Evan Dryer,
Yes.
thank you. Emily, can you tell me how many, Taj, I see Taj. Taj,
Yes.
thank you. Emily, can you tell me how many we had?
You want my vote?
Oh, I'm so sorry,
I
Councilwoman Ortega.
moved it, so that's assuming I'm.
That was,
voting.
yes, and I'm so
Yes,
sorry, but you're
that's
right, I
okay.
do need a yes from you. Councilwoman Ortega?
Yes.
Thank you, and Carol, I'm so sorry, I forgot you too. Carol, go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you, I totally apologize about that, yes.
Asadia, this is Sheriff Diggins. I'm on the call.
Oh,
as
your
well,
phone,
and
okay. Thank you, Sheriff
Yes,
Dickens. Would you like to vote on the nomination to have Judge Clark on the CPCC for the juvenile justice seat?
I would, and I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Dickens. Okay. I think that's vote over 15, right, Emily?
I believe I count 18.
18, so we have 18. Do we have any objections? Any abstains? Okay, well, thank you very much, Judge Larry Clark. So the next thing in your application, we are going to forward it to the mayor's office. The mayor will have to approve it. And if the mayor does approve you, then you will get letter in a mail letting you know that you was approved to be on the CPCC. So look out for that letter and I will be in contact with you as well. But thank you. So this vote just states that we are going to move with your nomination to give it to the mayor, but it's always up to the mayor to approve. But usually the mayor, when he has a full yes from the commission, it usually is moves. But thank you very much for being here today. When I get the yes from the mayor's office, I will let you know of when you will have voting rights. So
Thank
probably
you.
our next meeting. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Armando, you're finally on. Yay. Thank you for being with us today. Would you like to go ahead with your updates?
Yeah, thank you, Asadia, and I apologize for being a little late. I know a few of us had another previous meeting that we were all in, finishing up some race and social justice training. So I apologize for being late. Thank you all for being here. It's like a great turnout. I'm glad you guys got some business done, and very excited for Judge Clark to join us in the commission. Look forward to her voice in the commission and as we move forward. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of logistic stuff and then put on the horizon for the for the new year and hopefully, quickly after the new year that we could start planning our annual retreat. I know that those that have been on the commission for some time and those new to the commission, there is typically a all-day retreat that is facilitated where we can discuss priorities, discuss, all the work that we're doing and really lay out a plan for the year. I know that we also, and you all had discussed some of the budget process and some of the innovation funding for next year and what that RFP process will look like. But I think this will be really a good opportunity for all the commissioners and for especially our new commissioners to get on and to sit down in a facilitated conversation, a facilitated discussion around, just going into retreat and taking that day for us to all focus on all things CPCC and really lay out our plans for the commission and some of our priorities for the year. So we will be looking to do that. I talked with Jeff Holiday, who had previously, chaired the commission and had the commission prior to it coming back to safety. I think one of the earlier times we had pre-pandemic were a retreat around February. I'd really like to get that, try to stick to that kind of timeline, but obviously work with all of your busy schedules to see that we can make sure have the most participation for this. Also, a little on the logistics side of the house, I know we had talked about doing in-person meetings or hybrid at least. I always want to make a video option available for folks to attend remotely to our meetings. Speaking with Asadia, really going to and her discussions with some of the commissioners. I know that we're going to be going into the holiday season, wrapping up into year, and I know that at that time it's a little tougher to get people in person or getting people, or there may be some excused absences from, having to take some vacation time or being out of town for the holidays. So recognizing that for November and December, I think we'll stick to a full Zoom remote meeting and really work towards January's meeting being our first hybrid meeting where we'll be an in-person venue. We're going to work on, really making sure that the technical side of it is well supported and that we're making sure that it's tested, that we don't have to lose time to try to make the technical side of it work. And then also have the ability to host, where hybrid folks could not only be a part of the meeting, but be active parts of the meeting so they can hear well, they can interact with those in person well too. So we're going to be shooting to have that in January. And so for the next 2 meetings, we will do remote options. So I know that there's a lot going on. I know everyone's schedules are really busy towards the end of the year, but I look forward to that. I know we have important work to do around innovation funding for some of our new programs that we're going to want to start in that RFP process. So I know there's still work to be done by the end of this year to get some things up and running beginning of next year. Then the last logistical topic I really want to talk about is, I mentioned in the last meeting, desire around, reviving the Justice Coordinating Committee. The Justice Coordinating Subcommittee of CPCC historically had been a really active and helpful to a lot of the initiatives around the CPCC and helping inform topics and helping inform a lot of the topics that are top of mind today around our criminal justice, our rising jail population, those types of things that we are, all interacting with in our system of justice right now. So Sadia will be sending out to those that were historical members or had been on the previous Justice Coordinating Committee, invites out to see who would still like to participate. Also would like to know commissioners that would like to participate in the Justice Coordinating Committee. And then, maybe we will, in between these next couple of commission meetings, we can have a meeting just to discuss JCC, try to plan it out and try to get, some dates scheduled, a cadence of meetings around that, and really start outlining some of the work that's being done or that we can do again. I'll remind my last, work around the JCC, I remember was when we were at, jail capacities. We were, our jail was at, max capacity, and we were working as a system to reduce jail beds. I know that drove a lot of the reform that's present now. And so I think that really diving into our jail population, who's incarcerated, and other things that we are experiencing right now, I think would be really helpful for the JCC. Also, there is some work being done. The Department of Public Safety, my analyst team, we are working with a large systems are out there, namely the district attorney, Beth McCann, our city attorney's office, our county courts, district courts, and our police department, sheriff's department, community corrections. We're trying to build a data infrastructure and data sharing agreement to really get at these questions around recidivism, around PR bonds. As we all know, this has been a topic of discussion in a lot of venues and for all of us. And I'm really trying to get the really comprehensive look at all our data systems. And so our analysts, and we're also being informed by DU's data lab, they're helping us try to get to this and really trying to bring together all our data to really try to tell the story on what is happening with repeat offenders, with some of the folks that are with folks that are getting PR bonds, and really try to tell the story. I think the story that's been told so far has been kind of what has been responded to from, core requests or an analytics out of, silo data and not, comprehensive integrated data like we're looking to do here. So I think having that data infrastructure and some of that analysis to help inform JCC and all the criminal justice minds in this commission, I think will be helpful as we confront some of our public safety challenges that we're all dealing with right now, namely high crime and our jail population that's rising again to pre-pandemic levels. So I just wanted to discuss that. Sadia, also, I believe in our bylaws and rules we've had, kind of the designation of who had historically participated in JCC, but I think we kind of just open it up and see. So Sadia will circulate that out. And again, like I said, we'll ask those that have been previously involved. And then if any of our new commissioners or other folks want to participate in that, please let Sadia know, and then we'll try to convene a meeting to then get it discussed and try to get it started again. I wanted to ask Greg Morrow, Alice Norman. I know in the past, in our former JCCs, I remember you all really having integral roles in JCC. Could you guys offer kind of some of your, what did we do? How did it function previously, especially for our newer commissioners? Kind of give a little bit of background in what you all, and I remember Alice, when we were talking, as the pandemic came upon us and our courts were shut down and you were starting to see things and you're starting to see this resurgence of, problems in the justice system that we had seen before and that you had talked with me about, we need to get JCC up and running again. So I'd like to pass over to you two for some discussion.
I felt like JCC was a great committee and sort of an adjunct to the Crime Prevention and Control Commission. It was a smaller group. It was court and jail focused, which is part of what CPCC is, but very helpful, because very often district court didn't know what county court was doing and county court didn't know what jail was doing. So the mere fact of getting that smaller group in the room, we found out that there were a lot of things that a lot of communication issues that were very, very helpful, and a lot of and a fair amount of problem solving just because somebody else had already solved the problem. If district court had figured out something, that county court could use it, or vice versa. So I think it's a committee worth reviving and very could be very useful because the court isn't all of CPCC is, but certainly has a large effect on how well CPCC can function, and how the CPCC money should be spent to keep people out of jail, and it just worked well together.
Armando, I would just echo what Alice said. I mean, I think the JCC for years was a highly functioning committee. I think in addition to bringing proposals forward, one of the things it accomplished was just identifying systemic efficiencies across criminal justice agencies. So even when there wasn't an ask for funding, we were able to problem solve and identify some efficiencies that help to either.
Wait, hold on real fast. I'm so sorry, Greg. Armando, can you, I think it's you, can you mute?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. And Emily, can you mute everybody else except for Greg? If anybody else is unmuted, because it's a lot of back noise. I'm sorry. And I wanted to hear you clearly, Greg. Go ahead, Greg. I apologize about that.
No, thank you for that. I was hoping it wasn't my computer. I was just echoing what had been shared. I think the JCC proved to be a highly functional committee. I think it was an active and engaged group of folks that not only looked for funding opportunities to solve some of the challenges we faced, but as importantly, looked at just identifying system efficiencies and where there was duplication of services or where there was a gap that could be filled. So I would wholeheartedly agree that and support and request to be a member of that committee, and I think it's great that it might come back together. I think one of the pieces that made it successful, it was co-chaired by both the district court chief judge and the county court presiding judge, and I think that helped to bring the system agencies together in a coordinated and effective way. So I hope the courts are willing and stay involved in that process.
Thank you, Greg and Alice. Is there anyone else that want to discuss JCC in this topic?
I see your hand, Carol. I just have a quick question. I just want to clarify two things. Armando, when you said per bylaws, JCC only allows system individuals, are we going to continue with that? Or are you saying we're going to open that up and then also allow community individuals? Or are we going to make another committee for community and then still have JCC be the systems individuals only per our current bylaws right now?
Yeah, I would say let's socialize the current bylaws for the commission. And if folks want to expand the roles of JCC, I'm always open to it, and I think it should be a vote of the commission of how we would want to do it if there were a change to the bylaws that were being proposed. Yeah.
Thank you, Armando. I just wanted to make that clarification. Go ahead, Carol.
Thanks, Asadia, because it's actually what I want to say is totally related to that. And that's just an observation that I think it would be helpful for the kind of the problem solving conversations that are going on. I know some of it's you guys, it's all system, but there are also people from the community. And I would hope that commissioners like Taj and Tomas, who boots on the ground, are there as well and involved in these conversations.
Thank you.
Thank
Carol.
you.
Yes. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, I just am looking at your the commission's current bylaws, and actually with respect to this question that is being addressed, the bylaws actually say that the JCC it generally consists of, but it's not a thou shalt. And so from my perspective, Director, you're well within, you're fine to add additional people to that.
Great.
Thank you, Jeff. Taj, I seen your hand was up. Taj, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to jump on Carol's point and at least speak for myself. Certainly, absolutely willing to engage in that convo. And I was thinking I was gonna at some point call Greg and pick his brain more about the JCC because it certainly piqued my interest. So I agree, Carol, that whenever I hear something like this, I do think in terms of boots on the ground because inevitably we talk in a big circle, and sometimes we forget the people that are in the middle of the circle. And some of us with lived experience are very mindful of that. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Taj. What I think we should do then is, if it looks like the language and the bylaws seem to openness for that, so all commissioners that are interested in the JCC, please email Asadia, and then we will send out a meeting and try to get another meeting of all those interested in JCC to discuss next steps.
Well, and sorry to cut in, let me express my interest for the record, Asadia. So, okay.
Thank you. Amanda, do we have any other updates?
I don't think I have any other specific updates that we had chatted about. Do you remember anything? I don't recall anything from my notes from when we talked, but it's been a busy week, so I may have forgotten something.
No problem. I just have a quick update. So I know that everyone, we are trying something new. We have removed the minutes and we're approving of the minutes. We are creating a Facebook page, excuse me, not Facebook, a YouTube page, because when we record it from Zoom, it does not allow us to be posted on the Dimmer website. So we are trying to put these recordings on a YouTube page that you can click on the link to the videos from our Department of Safety website, our CPCC webpage. You will have to go to the webpage in order to click on the link for the video. You would not be able to go into YouTube and search CPC. It would not work. You only can click on it from our webpage. So we're trying to figure the YouTube rollout. So please be patient with us. But I can send anyone the recordings, but it's too big in email. So we can set up like a Zoom, a quick Zoom chat, and then I can send it to you in the chat like that, but I would not be able to send it via email. And another thing is, thank you everyone for being here today. If you're not here, just please email me and let me know. It gives me a heads up whether or not we have a quorum or whether or not we need things to vote on. If you're not here, please just remember just to email me and it will be count as an excused absence. I do track those according to our current bylaws, even though we're going to change those, we know. If you have 3 or more unexcused absence, you can be removed from the commission. So that just me stating that also to the new commissioners, if y'all didn't have a chance to look at the attendance rules and the bylaws. And then also, I know for the next 2 months, it is going to be holiday season in November and December. So I know a lot of commissioners or guests, they have a lot of vacation. So if you're not here, a good heads up will be grateful. And then we are looking to have a hybrid meeting starting in January, since we do struggle with creating quorum and we do struggle with the holiday months coming up. We're going to look to do hybrid in January. But however, in the meantime, as Carol stated a couple of meetings ago, if you are here, you are present, please have on your cameras, be engaged as much as possible. If you also here and you have a phone number, please change your phone number to your name, because this will be posted on YouTube eventually, and we do not want your number posted on YouTube or anything like that. So please change your name. The comments on YouTube will also be muted, as well as if this chat is muted. And that's all the updates that I have. Like Armando stated, it says generally systems individuals, but since that wording is open to community commissioners as well. So if you are interested on being on the JCC, or if you are interested on being on the RFP panel, please email me, let me know. Anthony, I already got your email. Thank you very much for volunteering for that panel. If anybody else would like to volunteer for the panel, please email me and let me know. And then I will get with Carol and Liz and Laura and of when we can start scheduling for the RFP panel for the new innovative programs that we are trying to build out or fund for 2023. Do any other commissioners have any updates or like to address the commission at this time? Okay, do any guests have any updates or like to address the commission at this time? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn in a second? Motion.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Taj. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Carol. This meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you at our next meeting. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
What's this here?
Good, isn't that nice?